So we want to go over a couple of our favorite. We were talking about earlier our favorite local records. Our favorite. We've got some great collections here. So we're going to talk to you about some of our favorites that we own here. What do you think, Aaron? Do
Yeah,
you want
I
to go
think,
first?
sure. We're just going to show a few because we each have record players because that's what our parents raised us on. And we've been collecting some local groups of records, obviously. And we thought we'd kind of talk about a few of our favorites, maybe that you should check out if you haven't heard of, or just kind of show some support during this time. Or just we want to talk about it because they mean something to us. And this episode's about us. So you kind of have to deal with
Boom.
it.
Aaron, who did you choose first?
So the first one that I have here is the Marty Cole's little 45. It is beautiful, bright pink. I love it. It's
Mm.
recorded at Forest City Records, which is a local recording here in London from my friend Richard. So I just really like this record. There's two songs, Play 2 and All I Am. Play 2 I just think is an amazing song. She released this record at Museum London with the video as well. So definitely a song and video you guys should check out.
I love it. Marty Cole's has been doing a bunch too. When we were still last summer, I remember they were doing a lot of performances outside with the library and stuff,
Yep.
which was really cool.
Yes, that was very cool. She's also just a really cool person. So definitely something to check out. So what do you got,
Shouts
Patrick?
Shouts Marty. For my first one, I'm going to be doing a lot of sentimental picks because I have a lot of local records, and I could pick out like I just could just hold up my 7-inch collection and just be like, that's all locals. But one of my first, I think one of my first local records that I ever got was this guy. This is a Whoopso. This is I'm quite sure their first full length record. They played Record Store Day that year. It's got this incredible screen printed back there. But at that time, I was playing in foam, and I had just gotten to start knowing Adam Sturgeon and the guys in the Out of Sound Collective. And foam was, I think, maybe around that time or just a little bit before that, they were talking about putting our first tape out for us. So I was excited. I remember helping them like load in. I was just like, "Hey guys, oh my gosh, let me help you load in. This is so cool." Like Record Store Day. Look, I know this band that's playing. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. And yeah, it's a really great record, and I love it. And it's Whoopso has been dominating, and it's always good to take a look back at some of the earlier records.
Yes. Very good. Good first choice.
Rated 5 out of 5. Heck
Yes.
yeah, first choice 5 out of 5.
Also, they came on our podcast, so definitely check out that if you want to learn more about them.
Yes, very informative.
The next one that I have probably be a little obvious one, but it is the first. Well, it's the second, but it's the first full length released by Ivory Hours, obviously. But this was one of the local bands that I supported out when I was in Nova Scotia, so it was really cool to be able to kind of go and check them out kind of where I was that they were touring around. They came to Halifax, so I ventured out of my small town and checked them out. And it kind of started this whole thing, and now here I am. So, yeah, that's my second one that I am showcasing.
Ivory Hours too are a pretty big band here in London on the pop scene. They've played the London Music Hall. They've sold out Rum Runners and stuff. They're quite the band on the lookout for. So definitely, if you haven't taken the time, Thomas, an incredible drummer as well. So definitely take a look out for those sweet beats.
Yes.
Um, for my second choice, I'm going to pick another. I'm going to pick another out of sound band. This is I Smell Blood. This is their debut full length. It's only 5 songs, but it's a full length pressing. So it's got another sweet inlays on the back. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's got Zahn and Eric's faces in the back, kind of screen pressed in. Very cool. This is a two-piece band, just bass and drums, just distorted bass and drums, and they are loud and fast and awesome. And both of them, Zach and Eric, are incredible at their instruments. So they do not exist as a band anymore. They should, guys. You
Hint,
both
hint.
exist. You could easily do this at any point in time. So get back to it. That's my choice for number two.
Alrighty. And on to number three. For the third one, I chose Charlie Weber's Old Habits, his first uh, LP that was released also under Forest City Records. Good friend of the show. He was on for our second ever episode, so if you want to learn more, check that out. It's a great record. I also have the CD, and it's the only CD in my car, so I listen to it a lot. It's great, it has a lot of different kinds of songs on it. And it's just fun when your friends are musicians and you can listen to them. So, yeah, that's my third choice.
I would say that's Aaron. You made a great point there. I'd say that's the best part about local music is that you're like, hey, that's somebody I know who made that, and
Yeah.
it's really good, just as good or better than anything I'm listening to on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
For my number three choice, I am going with the debut full length record for Heart Attack Kids. Everybody knows this local two piece at the time, now three piece. Now, this album is significant in my mind because I did not know at that time, like, I wasn't friends with or knew any bands that got signed to any sort of label that wasn't a local record label, which is nothing to that, nothing shaming that, but I had never seen them. You know, they got signed to Underground Operations, which has released quite a few Canadian big records. So getting signed to that was a pretty huge deal in my mind. And as I in Foam, myself and Foam, we actually played their first show at Call the Office. So there you go. And they've also been on our podcast. So another great episode to go back and listen to. Heart Attack Kids now are a three-piece, and they have some incredible music on the way. They're working on their next record, and they might be helping us out with something uh, soon as well. So look out for that.
Very good choice. Heart Attack Kids was always a band. I feel like you showed them to me when I was much younger. I didn't realize it was a local band, so I just thought this was like this big deal kind of group that you showed me. And so then when meeting them on the podcast, it was really weird as like a surreal kind of, oh, I used to like look up to these guys thinking they're a huge deal, and they're having drinks in my kitchen and they're like my age, if not younger, and it's a really strange kind of different. So that was funny. Anyways, that's my story. My fourth choice is another episode guest is the lovely Thunder Queens.
Woo,
I had
Thunder Queens!
I had to choose this record. It's also very pretty, but also I just think these girls are so cool. Just being able to go through release a little LP at their age is absolutely insane, and I think they're just really showing the young girls the way that just play whatever you want, do your thing. People will support you, and I think that's really cool. So keep it up, gals.
Yeah, and there's no age limit on it too. That's something that I've had. My coworkers with kids, they'll say, oh, my son's only 12 years old, or my son's only 11. I don't know if he can learn guitar. And you say, yeah, well, there's this band that I know of 10-year-old girls that have an LP out, so I think they can do it.
Yeah.
I think it's possible for like it's super inspiring for not only other kids, I hope, but for myself and other adults for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For my record number four, I decided to choose one of my own records because I'm selfish. But I have chosen the split record between Grievances and Never Betters. We've called it Never. We did such a ridiculous job of packaging this thing. It does not say either of our band names on it at all. It says we called the album as a joke, and it ended up sticking. We called it Guns N' Roses is Roses, and we ended up just kind of like combining our names together. So our band on this record is just called Never Grieve, and so it just says Never Grieve on both sides. It has yeah, like I said, I was fortunate enough at the time. I was playing in both. Myself and Dan were both playing in Grievances and Never Betters, and I got to play on both sides. It was recorded by Kyle Ashbourne and Simon LaRoche over at the Sugar Shack here in London, and they are incredible people who are making some of the best recorded music in this country. They are Juno nominated, and and just incredible workers and just incredible people too, and had the best time making that stuff. And it was put out by Grooves Records here in London. Grooves Records. Got to shout out Andy, who made that happen, and Troy, and everybody involved there. Just because how cool! I just cannot believe my young self, even just saying it now, just kind of how crazy it is that a local record store that I would go to all the time, I now and frequent and spend so much money at and just like loved. They not only do I now know some of the staff there and like I'm friends with the staff there, but they have supported my band and actually put out our record and stuff, which is just unbelievable and just incredible. So what you can accomplish, and what is available to yourself within the city and who's willing to help you. It's just amazing to see. So that's a very big record for me. And I know it's selfish, but happy to promote that stuff.
Yeah.
And all the people involved in it are amazing. I'm just going to shout out my other bandmates because I'm doing it right now. Davida, Danny, April, Jesse, Brandon, and myself. Never Grieve, the best band. Aaron, who's your number 4 choice? Or did we already go to number 4? I think it's your number 5.
Yeah, number 5, our final choice that we're going to show. I chose uh, this very lovely group, the Marrieds. Jane and Kevin, they actually, growing up, were our next door neighbors. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a huge part of our kind of music growing up. Pretty sure Kevin taught Patrick guitar for a while. I ended up singing one of their songs in my grade 12 kind of graduation show, whatever we say. I sang Take Me to California. And they've always been really supportive of us musically or in everything we've done. And they've been releasing amazing music. And they're both also music teachers. So they're just continuing on the tradition to showcase some really cool music here in London.
They're great people. They're inspiring as well because they not only teach like generations, all the future generations about music. Kevin teaches guitar and like runs band. Jane is a vocal teacher, and they're both incredible musicians, like Aaron said. And their latest release, the one that Aaron was holding up there, is super heartfelt and sad, and just like very worth a listen. So we love Kevin and Jane. Go support them, absolutely.
Definitely check them out, the Marrieds.
Um,
They're also
for
in two other
my
bands, the Cedar
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sisters from Jane, and also the Dyadics with Kevin and also Jane. So check all 3 of the groups out. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, they are super productive in this city when it comes to making music and producing music. I don't know if anybody remembers that Snowmageddon that happened quite a few years ago, but they had a hit song that they made about the snow, where they were just sitting in their front yard in the snow, and it became like a big song around the country. So they are talented and smart about promoting their stuff as well.
Perfect.
For my last choice, what were you going to say? I'm
No, I was
sorry.
going to say, tell us your final choice there, Patrick.
My final choice is a random record I've decided to choose. It's Chachi on Acid. Now, this is a punk band who, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't listen to the records a ton. It is an incredible color and quality. Now, the story behind this, they are a local London band who have been around for so long, I think multiple decades now, and they were playing a show with my band Foam at the Richmond Tavern, and we got our set done. We were done playing. Then they got up on stage, and as soon as the show started, the singer decided to jump up onto a table and bounce around on it to the point where it looked like it was gonna topple over with him on it, but somehow he stayed afloat, jumps off it, and there's this a row of people sitting on a table and kind of the front. There's not a ton of standing room, there's a lot of seating and everything, and he decides to dive headfirst onto that table, onto a row of beer, and just pour it all over all of the people sitting there in the front row. And they all get up going, what the hell? They're getting out of there. And he just like still just getting up, going crazy, topples a table, throws a chair, and from there it's just one of the most nuts punk shows I've ever seen in my life. I think yeah. Anyways, at the end of it, he and the bandmates came up to us and we were just saying that was crazy. That was such a good show, and they just handed us handfuls of records. They gave us each a full length and a handful of 7 inches, and they were just like, "Here you go." Like I don't even know if they had much to say. They were just like, hey, just take them, you know, good gig kind of thing. But
Yeah.
they were just crazy dudes who put on one hell of a show, something I'll never forget. So I just want to shout out Chachi on Acid.